Hello everybody, today we're gonna read Love Me, Love Me. Now we go on to chapter 20, a Prime Video UK. Blaze, Blaze. Oh no, he was coming toward me. I was sitting diagonally on a bench, looking at the light sparkling on the pool water. There weren't many people here. Maybe that was just, maybe that was what compelled James to sit next to me. Want something to drink? The devil would never approach you unless he got something out of it. A glass of cologne clouded my mind. I would have paid good money to be in Taylor's, Becky's, or Sammy's shoes, or any of the other girls he had one night stands with. There was no shortage of times that I caught James holding. There was there was no shortage of times that I caught James hooking up with guys, but it was probably just for fun. I didn't know if he exactly slept with them. I asked her a question. What the fuck is wrong with you? James jolted me back to reality. I looked down at his hand, which we were holding two bottles of soda. He handed me one and pulled out a water bottle with vodka. Why? With the joy of courage, I feigned as much disinterest as I could. On the other hand, he wasn't afraid of looking at me in a way that could make anyone doubt their moral compass and make them believe they did die of desire. Okay, maybe I was exaggerating. I shouldn't be drinking in the first place. Thanks, I swallowed to wash away the vodka that was still burning my throat, then chased it down with the soda. This time he was the one to brush against my trembling fingers. I had called Jackson pathetic, but I became the biggest simp when James came down from the pedestal to talk to me. So, his deep, husky voice tempted my ears. How's your dad? He asked, spreading out on the bench. He stretched his leg out, forcing me to shrink so I wouldn't brush against his knee. The physical contact didn't seem to bother him. Good. I give. I only give monosyllabic answers because I had two spotlights on me. They were coming from the pool. Jackson's fiery glare burned my face. I haven't seen them at school lately. They beat him up and tell me, Blaze, did you really fuck him up? I felt out of sort. I, I didn't trust his intentions. James always had an ulterior motive. Just a little bruise. I downplay his injuries. It's weird that they jumped him in broad daylight, said James, sipping his drink. I was starting to get suspicious. The weirdest thing is that they didn't even take his wallet. I added. James drank the last drop and then sat back and looked at Jackson, who was glaring at us from the edge of the pool. Can I give you a piece of advice, please? James' tone became darker, telling me to watch his back. He got up, putting his warm, heavy hand on my back as he leaned closer to her ear. And behave, please. The roller coaster ride ended right when I saw James walk away with a vape pen in his mouth and his hand in his pocket. Was that a threat? I decided not to overthink it and go back to Poppy's and give her a hand with the sandwiches. I took 2 steps and then a moist grip tapped my arm. Jackson. He grabbed my chin and his pupil burned with jealousy when I looked at him. If I catch you with him again, it's over between us. We were just talking. I felt Jackson's finger press into my skin and my face burned with embarrassment. Me or him, I managed to ask. I had to know who was he jealous of, who did really care about. 21 June. Was surprised by the unusual silence at Poppy's townhouse when I got there. June, you're here too. Poppy opened the door, clearly buzzed. She was wearing a light blue cardigan with a bikini underneath. I felt agitated as I followed her to the garden. Did you bring a swimsuit? She asked, taking a sip from a drink with strawberries and mint leaf. Jackson and Marvin were in the water with 2 girls. Poppy realized they were smoking and she ran to tell them off. I was alone in the middle of the garden. Finally, you're here. Ari pulled me back inside and held out her hand expectantly. Was I really reduced to this, being a drug mule for a bit of attention? All of them, or just one? Give me everything, she said curtly. What you gonna use them for? She blinked at me, so I didn't sleep, June. So I didn't sleep, June. She walked away, joining Brian in the kitchen. He grabbed her hand. What June give you? He asked, glancing at me. Nothing. I have a bit of a headache. She just gave me some Tylenol. I just lied to her boyfriend. Look him right in the eye when she did it. I was in inundating my conflict emotions again. What if James was telling the truth? I immediately brushed away that thought. It wasn't any of my business, and Ari was too perfect to cheat on him. Ari was too perfect to cheat on her equally perfect boyfriend. I went back to the living room where Poppy was discussing tomorrow's homework with Sammy. I felt jealousy take hold of me like a poisonous snake. The grades were mediocre, and all I did was study every afternoon just to keep up while their smoke got drunk in and day out, and we're still straight A students. It was like being in a race, knowing you lost as soon as you started. I'm going to the bathroom, her mother. I needed to get away from this mess. June, can I lend you a bathing suit, Poppy asked as he rubbed a cloth on the coke around stained carpet. No thanks. Why? They had their secrets, and so did I. I'll be right back. I cut her off. I got to the bathroom, locked myself inside, leaning back against the door. It's easy to hide away reading books, isn't it? No drama, no stomach, no fighting. The curtain pulled back, revealing a bathtub. Blaze young will give me a heart attack. I tried to put my hand on my chest. Do you hide in the bathroom? Sometimes. He got up and jumped out of the tub. You alright? He nodded. Do you have to pee? Do you want me to leave? No, stay here. I cut him off, moving closer to the sink. He looked at me embarrassed. June, I don't have to use bathroom. I don't have to use the bathroom, Blaze. We smiled for a moment. What are you doing here? Asked Blaze, leaning back against the tires. The bathroom gave me a sense of security. 99% of the time you're in here, you're alone, which is a big advantage. Nobody can follow you in here, and you have an excuse to do whatever you can do in front of other people, like panic attack. His answer was so blunt that I was taken aback. Does that happen often? I asked. More than a shit. I'm sorry. He lowered his head and rubbed his chest with his. He lowered his head, then rubbed his chest with the palm of his hand. What happened to you? Nothing. I felt the wound on my inner thigh sting. I'm not really comfortable around the girls, not like I thought I'd be. Did they scare you? Mande. Did they scare you? They great, I think. But when we're at these kind of parties, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm part of the group. Welcome to my world. What you talk about winning like that? I asked after a moment. What do you mean by he wasn't what he seemed like? That he's hiding something from you, and I don't think it's fair to you. I furrowed my brow. I furrowed my brow, and my disappointment got him to admit one last thing. But he really likes you, June. I'm sure he found the right way to tell you. I was disoriented, and my confusion grew when I saw Blaze head to the door. I'm going back in. It's my turn, he whispered. I looked in the mirror. In some ways, Blaze understood me. Maybe he and I were more similar than I thought. I would like to hide away from everyone. It was the only way I knew how to stop feeling hurt. But as much as the memory of what happened at Will's party still stung, I was here with those people for one reason. William, I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to tell him that I didn't mean to upset anyone and that I didn't have any preconceived notions of him, and I was in a sob. I just couldn't stand his best friend. I gathered up my strength and went looking for him. As soon as I set foot outside the bathroom, I heard voices coming from upstairs. And I heard voices coming from upstairs. Eavesdropping was a terrible thing to do. It was a blatant invasion of privacy, but I had no other choice. It was Amelia and James, so was it your nuts? She seemed annoyed, almost scornful. Did your dick of a brother send you to give me the third degree? Why can you answer for once, James? Why doesn't he grow up here and take it up with me in person? Because he doesn't want to even look at you and don't blame him. I walk up 2 steps to get closer and hear better. My God, you two are so damn careful what you say. She stopped him. Look, he knew James' tone was decisive and infuriated. Brian had o- other shit to deal with. Y'all heard are the one who starts shit. There was a moment of silence interrupted by Amelia's voice. James, don't look at me like that. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not judging you, but you're about to cross the line, just so you know. You're talking to me about crossing the line. You locked June in a basement. You pushed her up against the wall. You threatened her. You made your best friend go haywire in front of everyone. You always win the gold medal for studying shit. Yeah, sure. Just until I open my mouth, Amelia. Just until I open my mouth. Was she blackmailing him? Go fuck yourself, James. Always at your service. Quick bugging me. I'll give you the money later, she spat. Their voices were anything but friendly. I'm not interested in your money. Sure, you want to play the hero and then show up at the school with a black guy. I don't want to have you on my conscience the day they expel you. Another brief period of silence followed. I did it for you, James. Words sounded harsh. You did it for yourself. I heard many footsteps approach the door. And the one that to have you on my conscience the day they expel you. Another brief period of silence followed. I did it for you, James. Word sounded harsh. You did it for yourself. I heard Amelia's footsteps approach the door, so I scampered down the stairs. But my usual elephantine grace, I bumped into someone. June, hey Williams. I was so lost in his eyes that I didn't realize the mess I just made as soon as I bumped into him. The snack tray that was carried to the pool with flying. Poppy appeared behind him and began shouting, "She's going through menopause. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm gonna through menopause and it has a short fuse for us to cope. Now catch her on the carpet. Why are you doing this?" "Chill, Poppy. I hope you wouldn't reassure her," but she was too agitated to listen to him. Take a few, take her for a few minutes to calm down, he whispered at me. Bending down to pick up the mess on the floor. Reluctantly, I walk away, bringing Poppy to the kitchen. "Don't worry. You sure you're okay?" I asked her. She started rummaging through the glasses, bottles, and dishes. "Yeah, I'm fine." "Really?" she snapped, neurotically rubbing a cloth on the counter. I scowled when I saw her hand tremble. "Happy, let's go outside. Everything is fine in here." She walked with her head bowed and her fingers gripping the kitchen sink, searching. "Just like my mom. You don't know her. If she finds anything out of place when she gets home, she'd throw me out." "Don't worry. The house is organized. What do you say we get some air? If if we all stay outside, nothing bad can happen." "Don't worry, the house is organized. What do you say we get some air? If we stay outside, nothing bad can happen in the sun." She nodded, fiddled with a hangnail near her thumb. I never seen her this anxious. I managed to take her out to the jar and got her to put her feet in the water. Poppy's pool was a big rectangular mirror surrounded by white tiles and flanked by a line of pool chairs. I looked at the water and wondered what the girls would say if they ever come to my house. I didn't have a garden. I didn't have a pool. "June?" I turned to her, sitting next to me. You were in theater," we both sighed. "You're cute. You were cute." I smiled, unable to hide the embarrassment I felt every time anyone talked about William. "What do you mean? You should talk to him." I almost lost my mind. "When you kiss, really?" We giggled like schoolgirls. James came over to the pool edge, followed by Sammy. Her cheeks were flushed with alcohol, and I saw him fiddle with the end of her pigtail as she looked at him adoringly. My stomach turned. She wasn't a problem, nor there were any of the other girls he went out with. In fact, I felt sorry for them. I could see for a mile away that he didn't care about any of them, but they kept hanging around him. What did he say? How did he deceive them? Sammy stuck his nose in James' white t-shirt. What did she want from him besides physical relationship? Maybe he had a heart. Would anyone ever be able to see it? I had to stop poking my nose into the piece of work business, but I couldn't help myself. He somehow intrigued me. "Papi, can I ask you something? Where'd you disappear to at Will's party?" I only noticed her for a few weeks, but I immediately recognized her facial expression. "Yo, I was with, had to stop poking my nose into that piece of work or business, but I couldn't help myself. He somehow intrigued me. But can I ask you something? Where you disappeared to a Will's party? I know only for a few weeks, but I immediately recognized her as expression guilt. I was with. She looked around and then stared at him. James wasn't lying. You really can't lie, can you? I asked her. How do you know that, June? Because a guy like him doesn't know how to keep certain things to himself. I retorted. But that's not what you think. Poppy seems sincere. Maybe she was only naive. There was only one thing you could do with someone like James Hunter. I thought, is he with Amelia? My question didn't throw her off at all. No, June. Amelia and James, but nothing ever happened between them. I knew it. I had a feeling that the girls were messing with me. Why lie about something so inane? What were they hiding behind the lie? And why Amelia tell me otherwise? They were never together. I believe Poppy, and she said it with any hesitation. All my assumption about Brian being overprotective and angry at James for how he treated Amelia went up in smoke. Amelia seeing someone else who, but that was too much ever for Poppy. She shook her head, and I started to drop it. Look, Poppy, look at him. James had just jumped in the pool with his clothes on. He emerged from under the water for a few seconds and leaned against the edge. His arm grazed Jackson's muscular shoulders, and Jackson continued to bite his lip every time his friend came near him. A little while later, James was flirting with Becky, who couldn't take her lips from his jaw. What the hell did the answer do to you? Brainwash you? Papa looked at me earnestly. Just asked me to go with him. There was this race. I look askance. What kind of race? Race, Jesus, June. What do you want me to tell you? Is it illegal? She nodded, then covered her mouth. Oh shit, that was a secret. What race? I demanded. Forget all I can tell you is that James wanted to know the last time we saw each other. He asked about you. What? What he wanted to know? He wanted to know how integ- integrated into our group you were. What you know about us, about him. That's none of your business. He just wants to ruin my life. I grew up getting irritated. I looked at him and turned to us that in that exact moment, catching us red-handed. James' eyes glittered in the dark and smashed into me like two rough meteorites. I could perfectly describe William's eyes, but not his. I gathered all my strength and looked away before getting lost in that dangerous void. You know, Yoon, I think he likes you. I choked some saliva, started hacking. I struck a narrative between strangle one person, pulled myself together. Look, Poppy, don't let an asshat. You like that. You deserve so much better. I told her as she put her hand on my shoulder deliberately. I told her as she put her hand on my shoulder deliberately, ignoring the absurd notion. I know, but I always like him. James is James, and everybody acts like him. I'm crazy because I had this, I had this awful tendency to talk too much. He doesn't act this way. He make me feel like I can be myself. Yeah, but I shook my head. I get probably chased after someone who wasn't capable of feeling things like this, decency, common sense, and respect for others. He was at her home and another girl was following him around right under her nose. Then she looked at me. Maybe he could play mind games with people, but he couldn't with me. I wouldn't let him. I did what I could. I got the stains out of the carpet, then we vacuumed it. It should look good. It should look like new, William's melodic voice carried over towards things well, we both said. I'm gonna check if there are any stragglers at the puppy getting up. I understood that she wanted to leave me alone. Finally, a breath of fresh air. How's your evening going next? William sitting next to me. His actions were jarring. First he kissed me, then he chased me out of his house, then he kissed me again, then he left without any explanation and why, and now he was acting like nothing had happened. It might have been weird. How about you? I look at our reflections in the water. William was wearing a gray cardigan over a white linen shirt that was a bit wrinkled and a pair of dark pants, being the quintessential essence of elegance. I wore my big hoodie in an old pair of jeans. June, if your invitation still stands, I think I should consider it now. I was a proud person. I had the bone to pick with him. Also, we only talk when you decide to. William Cooper wasn't mad, but I needed to establish boundaries for a new relationship. Well, you told me there were things you needed to tell me, and then you kissed me. Is that how you tell people stuff? He hinted a smile. I'm embarrassed by how I acted with you, June. As stiff as tight as a drum. I was pissed off James and myself, and I took it out on you. You were so close to each other. How could I not understand? He jerked his hand at James. His white t-shirt was so almost see-through. Immediately, I averted my gaze from the scene in front of me. He and Becky were making out particularly passionately. So you think we were doing something? I asked. No, I mean, I thought you. I what? I was furious with him. Well, I was still am. He locked me in your basement to get back at me for punching him, and for matter what, he deserved it. Willie shook his head, fixing his head. I'm sorry about what he did to you, but most of all, for thinking badly about you. Be honest, you thought badly of him. I edged him on. No, James. No, James has a moral code in his own way. I was in the school bathroom with him because I spilled coffee all over his uniform and pulled me in with him. Nothing with the nurse pulled in with him. Same thing with the nurse's office. I gave him one piece of advice. of advice. June, I believe you don't have to explain yourself. I don't want to explain myself. I want you to trust me. William held back a smile as a pleasant throughout. I just crossed his mind. It really was great this morning. Of course, it would be better without an audience. I bit my lip as if I wanted to feel his lips' softness again. When you said you never had a girlfriend, is that because of James? I whispered, what do you mean? When tension got high at the party yesterday, you accused him of never backing off. It's because he's stronger. He clearly wants all the attention for himself, he explained. But that's nothing to do with my love life, William continued. It's my fault if I've never been with anyone. It's because I've been in love with the same girl for years without telling her how I feel with her ever looking my way. We always want something we will never have. It's human nature. Hold on, what what he's saying that he was in love with someone else. My hope of having a serious relationship with him evaporated in an instant. June, don't get me wrong. I often end up going after the wrong people, but for the first time, I feel there's something real between you and me, not just a one-sided way. My vision got blurry. Are you still in love with her? He shook his head. No, that was just a prologue. I want the main part of the story to be about you and me together. I let, I let up when I heard William's words. I flung myself at him, finding his soft lips ready to meet mine. It was like landing a bunch. It was like landing on a bunch of soft clouds. Our tongues mingled instantly. I didn't put my hands on him. I stayed at the pool edge as William caressed my cheekbone with his thumb, sending a chill spine. Sorry, June, I was so. You're forgiven, Romeo. 22. 22. Ari. Ari. The pages about the American Civil War breezed past my eyes. My mind was completely clear, ready to absorb any information hidden in a paragraph. After partying for 2 hours, we holed up in Poppy's room to work on the homework due tomorrow. The more I read, the more I felt like my concentration was at its limits and the word will be etched in my brain. Are we? Are we? I remember everything. Everything. I closed the history book I mentioned to the girls. They took out their phones and put their notes on Poppy's cloth. Brian flung the door open. I'm going home. Wanna ride, honey? He looked around and his expression darkened. Are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? He asked, seeing us as still statues. I couldn't answer him. The last memorized phrase was still echoing in my head. Shooting the shit. My own business, Brian. Emily replied. She was the only one who quick wit in these situations. Are you spending the night here? He asked, staring at his sister inquisitively. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Brian was more possessive of Amelia than me. I predicted he wasn't he wasn't happy about her vague response. You either going home or staying here. There aren't any other options. He said harshly. Amelia snorted, hiding a derisive chuckle. Yeah, stay here, interjected Poppy. Obviously, that made him more skeptical. He stared at us for a while, but we knew what the issue was. Brian chill. We're here with him. It's just us. Hunter and Jackson live, and I sent Marvin and the other guys home. You can go to bed with a clear conscience, Poppy, and her blabbermouth. I still have 50 pages to go. I could finish them. What do you mean by that? Poppy will change if they were still here. Poppy was always paranoid. I have to study. My dad would kill me if I got another bad grade. Let's go downstairs. Robert, he addressed me unceremoniously. It was really hard to put up with Brian when he was in this kind of mood. For as much as he did to protect us, sometimes it felt suffocating. Suddenly feels suffocating. I'll be back, I whispered to the girl before leaving the room. They went back to their notes and I followed Brian to the stairs. There wasn't any other living soul there. I leaned against the range rover as he stared at me, but I put his doubts to rest by grabbing his by his shirt by a t-shirt. Alright, there's nobody here, I whispered. Our lips met. Besides, we're making out on the sidewalk. I didn't understand what the problem was. We've been together for 2 years, and other than a few kisses, there was never anything else between us. Didn't have any problems down there, I was sure of that, but he seemed to ignore all the other more intimate aspects of our relationship. And I started trying because his rebuff was too harsh. My hand grazed his chest. I felt his heart pounding under his t-shirt. I crested my breath, wavered expectantly, hoping for a miracle like him tearing my dress off with his hands, but that never happened. Like him tearing my dress off with his hand, but that never happened. I licked his lower lip and softly bit it, and Brian raised an eyebrow and then confused. His finger gripped my hips. 1, 2, 3 seconds, then he pulled back again, and brother, I grabbed his hand and put it under my skirt. Not here, he said, pulling away from me immediately. Not here, not in the car, not in your room, not at my house. You never want to anywhere. I said, not here. I clenched my jaw and pulled away. He stopped me again. He was shattering my self-esteem for the millionth time. Why? I asked. Why was is that the only guy I like didn't want me? Why did all the other guys like me except for him? He said he loves me, but he didn't show it, and I couldn't stand that. He never talked to me about it either. He avoided the subject like he was embarrassed. I could never have a serious conversation with him about it. I was always scared of saying the wrong thing and upsetting him, but now the pill was making me more neurotic. I couldn't contain myself. He turned away from me without even answering. Brian, he didn't stop. He walked around the car. His action sparked an unpredictable reaction in me. I moved next to him before he reached the car door. I pushed his back. Ari, what's wrong with you? Why? I shouted, exasperated. What? You never can. What are you saying? He knew perfectly well what I was talking about. You don't want me? It's not, a, it's not a good time to talk about this stuff. I gotta go home, he said calmly but resolutely. He never wanted to talk about it with me. Brian was already pretty close off and pretty averse to physical contact, but since his dad disappeared nearly a year ago, he gotten worse. He barely kissed me. But then he get possessive and jealous. I saw him look around as if he wanted to make sure nobody had heard me. The alley was deserted. It was just us. What's the problem? Do you think this worked for me, Brian? Why you prefer your boyfriend to jump on you? I looked down. What if I did? What are you saying, Ari? You're kidding, right? Brian had the ability to make me feel guilty every time I wanted to go further. Brian, you never complain. What's your problem? Normally, this was when I did apologize and everything would go back to the way it was, but not this time. Well, I'm starting now. I'm sick of you. I turned around and left him there. 23 Jackson. James shook his head when he realized that I was driving to his house. Don't take me home. Can I crash at your place, James? Come on, Jax. Is it because of your dad? Is he giving you shit? What the fuck do I care about my dad? I don't want my brother to see me like this. I'm not giving in to his request. Did you talk to Taylor after she told you off in theater class? I hope you're joking, he burst out laughing. No, she seemed really pissed. Why? Because she had a reason to be, he narrowed his blue eyes. Are you siding with her now? Not by your fucking hurt her. No, but you fucking hurt her. I saw him grumble before putting a vape pen in his mouth. She did it to herself. I told her a million times there we weren't together. You tell Sammy, Becky, Poppy, Tiffany, etc. He stared at me as if I just grown a third head. Well, you said one thing, but then you do another. Why do you always go back to them? They always ended up hating you, James. He put his forehead on the window, chewing on the mouthpiece of the vape pen. He always did that when he was nervous. June White already hates you, I added to get a reaction out of him, which came quickly. Why do you like her so much, Jax? I don't understand why my two best friends think so much of the pain in the ass. And she told me to go fuck you, to go fuck myself, and she punched you in the face. You can say what you want, but she doesn't take crap for anyone. You're a great a fucking associate. He snapped. What the fuck does that have to do with someone telling you to go fuck yourself? Turn you on? What the hell is that called? I'm not an associate. James, stop it. I tense up. Except for when I left you stamp all over my heart. You pummel it more than you do the punching bag in your room when you're letting off steam. She doesn't mind her fucking business. James' profile was a mixture of light and shadows as the street passed by. The perfect curve of his nose, the square jawline, his lips. Jack's called. What way we talking about again? Oh yeah, June Way. And does that piss you off because she's a busybody or because she never give it up to you? James Chuckle Cross said, "Oh Jackson, your grandma will give it up for me if I want her to." Hey, that's my grandma you're talking about. He wasn't even listening to me anymore. He looked out the window and finished his thoughts, but I definitely don't want to bang anyone who doesn't know how to go down on me. Why? Wow, aren't you a modern Shakespeare? I'm mocking. Maybe he knew June wasn't interested in him, and that's why he liked her. I know James since we were little. I know he wasn't a fan of easy stuff that he could get without any effort. That bored him. And all the girls who surrounded him were proof of that. He loved the chase and excitement of conquering someone or something that nobody else could. But besides that, White's a fucking problem, he added. Why? Because as soon as she finds something out, she wants to know more. The more she up my ass, the more we're at risk. Jane was drunk, even though he seemed perfectly lucid. Then, you think so? And I know how it's going to end with Will, he said with conviction. How they'll get together. That's the bad thing. It could be the right thing for him, something that he doesn't quit at first sight of difficulty. Bullshit. She dump him and he'll suffer. And a story. Is that why you don't want them to be together? James narrowed his eyes before exhaling a cloud of smoke. I'm going to destroy her. If it's the last thing I do, he concluded. I shook my head, but he looked too serious to be joking. James always felt protective, and Willie and I couldn't blame him. It wasn't easy for Will to get into a relationship with someone. You're wrong. That's not how it's gonna go. I saw them on stage. They really like each other. I saw him suck the vape pen, smoke greedily as he wanted to drain the whole thing in one drag. What stage? I lowered my window to get. I lowered my window to get all the smoke out. You weren't there. The kids in theater class. He raised an eyebrow in front of everyone. What does that weird you out, James? They fought. They fought because you made them fight, I corrected him. Bullshit, he retorted frustrated. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what well crazy about her. Yeah, I like a little gossip every once in a while. Bullshit, he repeated before glaring at me. Look, don't talk to me anymore, that stupid fucking bitch. So, can I sleep here with you as long as you don't make goo goo eyes at my grandma? What the fuck are you talking about? He burst out laughing and looked outside again. The piercing on the left side of his mouth distracted me for a moment. On the left side of the road. I mean, the last time I saw you bantering with her in the kitchen, you were buttering her up. I was just convincing her to make edible out of her cookies for me. Yeah, but telling her that she was the most beautiful girl you ever seen when she was young. But she loves me, so shut up, Jax. We laughed together until we got to my house. I waited for James to finish vaping and then turned the key while putting my finger on my lips. Obviously, he didn't pay any attention to me and started laughing even louder as we entered the living room. He stumbled, and as big of guys as I was, drunk, Jane was really heavy to support. Quiet down, for Christ's sake, I hissed under my breath. She whispered mysteriously in my ear. His warm breath gave me chills. I felt my lips tremble. He stumbled at the big guy. As I was drunk, Jane was really heavy to support. Quiet down, for Christ's sake, I hissed under my breath. He whispered mysteriously in my ear. His breath gave me warm chills. I felt tremble. We got to my room. James kicked the clothes on the floor and took off the jacket I loaned him. The light of the bed was dim. The shadows perfectly fell on the lines of his muscle, his smooth, tense skin. I'm going to the bathroom, my mother, leaving the provocative exhibition behind. I heard noises. I started brushing my teeth. I should have locked myself in because James snuck behind me. After a few minutes, I jumped when I saw his face in the mirror. James, I asked with my mouth full of toothpaste, what do you want? Why are you taking your clothes off? I averted my gaze as his black boxer hit the floor. I'm not allowed to take a shower? His back looked like an reverse angle, right up top is slender on the bottom. I feasted my eyes on every muscle and stopped right before his butt. What a fucking shit show, I thought to myself. As he disappeared into the shower, I put on the usual t-shirt that I wore to bed and got under the covers. I stared at the scene after James got out of the bathroom with a white towel wrapped around his waist. Can I carry your box? Can I carry your boxer? He asked, nodded, and he rummaged through my drawer, and he rummaged through my underwear drawer. I look at the TV to avoid watching him change. Fuck, I can't fit in here. James curled his legs into a smooth motioning to the mattress that I set up on the floor for him. You sleep here once. I groaned. Since we were in the elementary school, 9 inches to be exact. Go fuck yourself. He climbed on the bed and I on the poster of Jacob Elordi in Euphoria hanging on the wall. He was talking about boxing, but his mysterious smile didn't go unnoticed. I don't like fighting, I went reluctantly. The sight of blood made me uncomfortable and I couldn't stand violence. James, on the other hand, revealed in it. Not Tommy Jacks. Was better than he put it at a photo of a shirtless Jacob Elordi. James, that show doesn't exactly glorify Nate's character. You know that too is a criticism of him. I'm not talking about beating the crap out of anyone or hurting someone. I'm talking about the adrenaline rush of taking a risk. The freedom of being yourself, he answered, untangling his messy wet hair in his finger. Are you telling me that beating the crap out of people is better than sex? It would be exaggerating, he grinned. He spread out on the pillow, and I couldn't help but tease him. "The inches, huh? You're such a dick," he playfully punched me in the side. "Can I sleep here in your bed?" he asked, motioning to the mattress that we lay on. It would be exaggerating, he grinned. He spread out on the pillow, and I couldn't help but tease him. "8 inches, huh? You're such a dick." He painfully punches me in the side. Can I sleep here in your bed?" he asked, motioning to the mattress that we lay on. I suck on my piercing to elevate the tension. "No." "What's wrong? Are you afraid someone will touch you in your sleep?" I felt like I was burning up. I had to get away from him. "Let's do this." I sleep on the mattress, and you sleep here, I declared as I got up. James, looking critical to sleep, his blue eyes stared at me suspiciously. "Really?" Everyone knew I wasn't exactly Mr. Nice Guy. I would have kicked Marvin's ass before I let him sleep in my bed. "Yeah, now shut up and let me sleep." I can't wait to see that astral brain hook cry like a baby tomorrow. "The couch hasn't talked with you yet?" I asked, settling in on the most uncomfortable air mattress in history. Not yet. He thought he could be a dick to us, snitching on us. Dick Bryan had caught us smoking weed in the locker room, and the next day he told the coach, hoping that the coach wouldn't throw us off the team. So the coach tore us a new one, but he didn't have the luxury of cutting his best player over a pair of joints. He played dumb and lashed out at Bryan for turning his back on the team. Is he gonna cut him? No, but he won't be captain anymore. I stretched out my arm, turned out the light when I jumped. Why the fuck did you take your boxer out, James? I sleep naked. Didn't you know that? We were marking instantly. What the fuck is your problem with that, Jax? We shower together 3 times a week after practice. But I turn around every time, not sure at how fucking perfect you were. Please shut up and go to bed. He fell asleep. I hit my head on the pillow. I couldn't relax. I put some pants and went outside to get some air. I thought I was alone, but as soon as the smell of the cigar hit my nostril, I realized that I was mistaken. My grandpa was smoking on the porch drinking. He was an old vet with thick whiskers and permanently furrowed brows. In Vietnam, they shot at his hair, but he could hear perfectly of his out of his other one. Just someone with you, I heard it. He's a friend. He's crashing here. You never brought a pretty girl here, he gripped, swallowing the smoke. In that case, you wouldn't give me crap because I brought a girl here to spend the night of push making him grimace with disappointment. I- In that case, your old man would be bursting into tears, Jax. I froze. What? I don't like that you sleep with the other man. My jaw dropped. I was speechless for a little while. I told you, he's a friend of mine. I had to stop myself and swallow again. It's not the 50s, I will finish quickly. What's that got to do with anything, son? Grandma pushed on the arms of her chair and slowly got up. I was inundated with the persistent, nauseating smell of cigars. I mean, times have changed, and men slept together even if they're not lovers. There's not to be embarrassed by, I explained. Do you think I didn't sleep with my fellow soldiers? He knit his thick eyebrows. Exactly. You see, it's the same thing. You're the one who different, Jax. Those words stabbed me in the gut. Good night, Grandpa. I turned to the French door, but he pointed index fingers at the sky. Always think of your dad. When you do, Jax, ask yourself if he'd be proud of you. Didn't seem like a good time to think about either of my parents. They died 2 years ago. when they were picking me up from the party that they didn't even want me to go. I shook my head and without saying anything more, I went back to my room feeling like the lowest of the low. James was asleep on his stomach, both of his arms covered by the pillow in the sheets that caressed his thighs. He was a portrait of perfection. My eyes didn't stay open long. I woke with a start to the smell of coffee in my nostril. Where that came from, I asked, stretched out my back, cracked a bunch of times. I slept so badly that I felt every muscle screaming at me. Your grandma brought it to me, replied James harshly, lying on my bed looking at his phone. Were you at least wearing underwear when she opened the door? I barely got up the floor. I just woke up. I just showered. I just showed her what I look like in all my glory. Mortified, my jaw dropped. Are you a fucking idiot? Of course. I had underwear on. He rushed to clarify when he realized that I look. He rushed to clarify when he realized that I took it literally. Look in the oval mirror on the wall. The bags under my eyes were the first thing I noticed. Who is it, Taylor? I pointed at his phone when I saw on the screen with what was clearly two tits. She tried to get me to forgive her for the other day, but it wouldn't work. We're over. She's always forgiving you for everything, but who fucking side are you on, Jax? He snapped off the bed. He's not getting off the bed. He picked up an abandoned eye pencil on the desk and approached it to me. After the way she chewed me out in theater class, I'm not seeing her again. Not even if she get down on her knees. He held my chin between his thumb and his index finger. He concentrated and pointed the pencil at my eyelids, letting the salty part brush along the rims. Do you put it on too? I asked. No, my eyes are sensitive. First thing in the morning, I start to well up. The ease with James told me certain things always left me breathless. I wanted to be with him for him to accept me for who I was and maybe for what I thought I was right then. I tried everything I could to make myself like girls. But nothing compared to this. I could scream it at the top of my lungs to get it off my chest. I knew friends wouldn't judge me. Jane was the first one to not label himself. He was the first one to feel free, but I wasn't like that. There were mere thoughts of showing myself for exactly who I was ate away at me. I shut this James headed for the door. See you at practice. Where are you going? I asked perplexed. I'm going home to change. Do you want something to borrow? Do you want to borrow something? I pointed to his chest. I smiled. You'll be doing me a solid. Thank you very much. I watched him fling the closet door open and rummage through. So what are you doing with who today? Jackson? Jackson, you know that I never think before I act. Thinking is for idiots. I rely on pure inspiration. Quick watching the movie when you're wasting your brain. Gonna rot. A Clockwork Orange is a great movie and it certainly won't be what fucking my brains up. He shot me a crook grin. You don't have anything more subtle than this, do you? He pulled out on my brightly colored vest, then bit his lower lip. Why not? The religious teachers will have a stroke if I show up wearing only this. Where did your uniform go? I asked him, focused on finding mine on reclining with a pile of clothes that had been on it for days. I've been asking myself the same thing, he muttered before grabbing a gray hoodie. Hey, this is mine, he shouted, and I froze. Oh yeah? I tried to use the most innocent voice possible, but he caught me red-handed. Yeah, what the fuck is it doing here? He asked. This sniff, you at least wash it? Um, it reeks of smoke and the scent of my shower gel. Nasty. You couldn't wash it. I never put it on. I forgot it. I even had it. He put on my favorite vest over the hoodie. Alright, I'm going. I see you at school. Fuck, no, don't take it away from me. I thought. 24. Ari, I hadn't stepped a wink in over 24 hours, but I was still doing cartwheels down the hall. I skipped to in front of the bathroom. I obsessively checked my pupils in the mirror. I didn't want Brian to notice anything. I adjusted my hair and lipstick and then went back outside. I waved at Poppy and Amelia from far away. From far away. They rushed to class to review the homework was due third hour. Honest, honey, don't we have a test today? Asked Brian, surprised to see me, their bright eye and bushy tail before the bell rang. Yeah, but your candidacy is important. I whispered, caressing his cheek. I hoped with all my heart that Brian had forgotten about last night outburst. Well, my dad forced me now that it doesn't matter to you as much. He whined. Come, Man, you know I care. I pouted, and Brian kissed me immediately. I closed my eyes to savor cuddle him, but I couldn't then fully enjoy because of a little voice in my head. This is why he usually did. He acted like nothing ever happened. I opened my eyes again because the kiss vanished into nothing and noticed James and Jackson passing behind him. Jackson joined a group of guys while James headed to his locker. Brian squeezed me harder as soon as he saw him. Sorry about yesterday, remember, but he was too preoccupied with staring at James. I'm going, sweetie. Don't stay here too long, he ordered without taking his eyes off James. Hang up the flyer. Hang up, I just hang up the last flyer and you're the best girlfriend in the world, he whispered in my ear. Oh no, Brian, not all. James flung his locker door open and paper flew onto the floor. Damn that tramp Taylor, he cursed. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Hey, asshole, so you're finally gonna run? She asked, trampling on a flyer with her head. What the fuck do you want? He's battling against the lockers. As usual, James were wearing the fire engine red vest that belongs to Jackson instead of his uniform. It certainly looked better on James. His broad, powerful shoulders jutted prominently out of the sleeves. Jackson had a pale complexion like milk, while James was a tan, muscular statue. Now that I won't be taking care of your companion, we'll see what you'll do alone since you don't know how to do things alone. Taylor pointed her finger at his chest, but James seems unperturbed. No, you're right. I prefer when your friends help me, he answered, amused, pushing a vape pen behind his ear. You son of a bitch, don't talk to me ever again. And quit sending me those pics first thing in the morning. It has the opposite effect on me than what you're looking for. Taylor stormed off in a rage, swaying her lips like she felt like the most beautiful girl in the world, impervious to insults like that. I wanted her self-esteem. James coughed indefinitely and closed his locker. Then he saw me. Ariana, he pronounced my name, and his hoarse voice hit me like a lightning bolt. James looked, enjoying the show. He placed a vape pen between his lips and stared at me. I didn't want to stay and watch you, but I had to talk to you. Let's hear it, he said, annoying. James, I'm really sorry. I don't want your pity. I'm not pity, I retorted. Uh, It's, it's as long as I see you holding his hand around. As long as I see you holding his hand, he turned around and joined his friends. Turned around during his turn. I was seeing red and my body was on fire. I had to stay calm. I ran into the bathroom for the millionth time to cool off. Managing the situation between James and Brian wasn't easy. I felt like I was torn in two directions, balancing on a tightrope. I jumped at the loud thud of the door. Taylor had followed me into the bathroom, and her timing was so perfect that I wondered if she'd done it on purpose. First, White talks back to me, then she is still my role as Juliet. She announced invading my space and causing me to back away. You didn't do anything wrong. You're the one who. I feel like she repeating threateningly. Someone here is going to have really, really bad ending. I told myself her threats didn't scare me before thinking back to Brian. Okay, maybe they scared me a little bit. And someone tells me that someone is you, Ari. Taylor, I know you're with James now, but oh, Ari, we're not talking about who's in bed with James. I got out of that mess. We're talking about my reputation as student council president. What do you mean? I fixed my point here. I'm not a competition between you, me, Ariana. I'm on your side this time. Taylor moved on in front of me, blocking me from looking in the mirror. Under no circumstances should James be elected to student council or become the football team captain, she declared. Since when are you on Brian's side? Not to mention you supported James up until yesterday. I looked at her with a confused look, hoping she'd explain. Because I was unaware of what James arranged last week, but now that I know I'm not going to let have any power in this school, she explained mysteriously. What did he arrange? Have you heard about the principal? I found out that I heard that they beat him up, but what does James have to do with it? James is a loose cannon. I know him and what goes on in his sick head. I don't want to be associated with him and don't want to ruin my academic future for someone who will end up dead in a few months. A chill went down my spine. Taylor noticed and came closer to me, scowling severely. I don't get it. How could he ruin your future? Until yesterday, you two were. I didn't have the courage to continue. Intimate chicken concluded, laughing. Get off your high horse, Ari. Girlfriend of the year, she explained. She took another step forward, forcing me to back up. Do you think I don't know what about what you're doing with James? Oh, hold on your halo. Snipping. She made me feel 2 inches high and rendered me speechless. Amelia had the guts to hang him out to dry, and your idiot's friend Brian is so fried that she can't even remember who she's going to bed with. You're the only one who's going to end up getting burned. Taylor, is that what you think? Tainted, it's not what you think. Her hostile expression burned me. Brian doesn't know, does he? I feel my chest constricted, followed by a more intense hold in my stomach. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the fact that you're a tramp with little to no self-esteem. I heard a deafening buzz in my ear. The one of the bathroom door swung open and immediately came out of it. I almost fainted out of fear. I was peering in your snappily gossipy voice interrupted my business, she announced, shooting Taylor in a icy glare. You still don't get that you're worthless here. Taylor glared at her disdainfully. We'll see, she hissed before leaving without even acknowledging me. Emily's eyes cut through the air like two daggers. What the hell was that bitch talking about? She asked. They were just insinuations. I didn't do anything. Ari, listen to me. And listen to me good. If I find out you're even remotely about of cheating on my brother, what are you talking about? What are you? I started confused. I saw you what it's like to go from being the most level green school in the world. I show you what it looks like to go from being the most loved girl in school to the most hated in 1 second flat. You always exaggerating, I told her, despite not having the guts to look her in the eye. No, if you do anything bad to Brian, I'll never speak to you again. Do you understand? You won't have any friends at all. I never cheated on Brian. I lump from in my throat. I did just lie to my best friend, or you wouldn't. Look at the time at Tiffany's party was just you're running out of time things to put this thing to bed. Alright, my brother wants to be with you. Make sure you end up for the task. If there's something you need to make clear to the asshole James, you have until tonight to do it. I nearly petrified and ran off like a bolt of lightning. It was officially the most terrifying day I'd had since I set foot in the school. It suddenly seemed like all my lives were catching up to me. After finishing my assignment, I headed to gym class. My vision started to get blurry, indicating that I was starting to get sleepy. I needed to sleep. I was plastering Brian's poster on the walls when the guy started to leave in from the locker. Nobody talked. The air seemed tense. Brian, he passed by me, glowering. I just put this up, and he waved at me. Nothing else. I'll wait for you outside. I didn't know what happened, but it seemed like his day wasn't going any better than mine. The gym emptied out, not a trace of James. I approached the locker room and went in cautiously. James stepped out of his shower with the towel wrapped around his hips. James, I was thinking, he cut me off, immediately passing his index fingers to my lips. Shh. Hold on, let me guess. James, he didn't let me talk. I love him. I'm in love with him. I can do this anymore. He doesn't deserve it. We were made for each other. James imitated my voice. Yeah, James imitated my voice. Hmm. Despite the mocking, he was saying exactly what I was thinking. That what you wanted to say. Another, another with my head bowed. Okay, he shrugged. He turned down his lower lip as if it didn't involve him. He turned his back at me and pulled a clean undershirt from his duffel bag. Okay, you don't have anything else to say. Do you want me to ask you to dump him? Chica, que tú eres próspero. Ay, 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 mijo, me saca la tripa. Carajo. Huh? Dinero se le falta. Okay, you don't have to say anything else to it. Do you want me to ask you to dump him? The silence was so deafening that I couldn't talk because I won't do that. Why? Because it's not worth it. We're just having fun, but what's the deal with all of you? At that point, I should have turned around and left. Instead, I gathered all my goodwill and forced myself to say something. In fact, I didn't come to ask you for shit. I love Brian. James looked at me over his shoulder. It's near amused. I've never been in love, Ari, but if love for you means fucking me every time you want while you're still with him, I don't think you're on the right path. His words just stormed me. I dropped on the bench because I was getting incredibly dizzy. I put my throbbing head between my hands, and James seemed to be moved to pity by this. I'm saying this for you, Ari. I don't know what to do. Everything so hard at once. James sat next to me, clouding my judgment again. You should dump him. What's the point of being a happy couple if he doesn't even touch you and you only cheat on him? Brian will kill me if he finds out, I whispered. James' smirk gave way to an irritated expression. I kills him if he tries to lay a hands on you. I looked him in the eyes and couldn't help but notice the black and blue marks on his symmetrical face. Did they kick your ass? I asked, caressing his cheekbone. I have had worse, he murmured unwillingly. They hit you that hard? Well, it isn't. James lowered his head, ruffling his wet hair, blocking my wrist before I could move my hand down to caress his chest. You're not here for that, Ari. I was planning to be more coherent when I walked out of the locker room and went back to Brian. But that's not how things went. I was the first one to kiss him, and he didn't pull away. He never did. His lips parted, and he slipped his tongue into my mouth. He's feeling it. He was licked every crevice of my neck, covering it with demanding kisses. He played with the point behind my earlobe, setting off a wave of warmth under my skin and in my stomach. I remember that he only had a towel on when he grabbed my hips and strutted me on top of him. He brushed his pelvis against my underwear, this, and I felt his member between my thighs. I was about to fuck up for the umptieth time that day. James, no. Fuck. He cursed, holding on to the towel with his fist. Are you sure this time? Yeah, I admitted. My eyes glued to the floor. He lifted up my chin with two fingers, forcing me to look at him. You're going you're going back to him? I promised Amelia and Taylor and myself. Yeah, James. Jackson. 2 weeks earlier, you gotta do something for me. James came into the tropical with such intense expression into it made me shiver. Into tropical with such an intense expression that it made me shiver. You seem more agitated than usual. I'm right here, William. Because William didn't even listen to what James had to say. He was always in regardless. Well, James started. James stared at Marvin, who sprawled on a seat, nodded, not looking very convinced. I didn't hear you, Morris. Speak the fuck up. We could I couldn't tolerate James' questions, not in the least when he looked at us. Why don't you chill out, thought Morris slowly. Okay, anyway, he quickly added, noticing James' impatient expression. I knew it. I don't know what this is about, I said cautiously. Obviously, I wouldn't like the answer. Do you really know his eyebrow? Do you know he was an eyebrow? Look around to look around the table to be shorten the distance. Breathe, Jackson. Breathe, Jackson. Gonna stop there, guys. I hope you guys like this video and have a good day, guys. Bye bye. Next, continue reading chapter 26 and next video. Bye bye.